2 weeks later, my life turned into a goddamn rom-com I never signed up for. Roman appeared everywhere. At the cafe where I worked part-time. At the library. Outside my classes. Even at the supermarket near my house. And the most infuriating thing was, he never did anything over the top. No public flirting. No forcing me into conversations. No acting like a celebrity asshole. Roman just always existed nearby. Like the tide. Quiet, unhurried, but impossible to avoid. One Friday evening, I was standing behind the counter at the movie theater when I heard a girl near the front let out a small shriek. Oh my God! I looked up, and of course, Roman Vale. He was wearing a black beanie, a dark bomber jacket, his mask pulled down below his chin. Despite trying to look low-key, he was unreasonably handsome in a way that made the entire theater lobby turn to stare. I immediately bent down and pretended to wipe the counter. It didn't work. I'd like to buy a ticket, Roman said. My coworker beside me nearly choked. F for which movie? Roman looked straight at me. What does Nico recommend? I closed my eyes. You're disturbing my workplace. Not true, he replied, perfectly calm. I'm supporting the film industry. The staff behind me started giggling like traitors. I clenched my teeth. Horror film in Theater 7, I said randomly. Starts in 10 minutes. Roman nodded like a well-behaved student. One seat near the emergency exit, please. I get scared by jump scares. I don't care. You used to. I went completely still for half a second. Roman had already caught it. The corner of his mouth curved up ever so slightly. Bastard. After buying his ticket, instead of leaving, Roman stayed leaning against the counter, watching me. What time do you get off? I won't be going anywhere with you. I haven't asked yet. But you were about to. Roman laughed. True. I hated that he was honest. A young girl came over to ask for a photo with Roman. He agreed very politely, even bending down so she could take the selfie more easily. I watched the scene quietly, and suddenly remembered what I used to like about Roman before everything fell apart. He was always kind, even before he was famous. Once, during a voice call, he had disappeared for 10 minutes just to help his elderly neighbor catch her runaway dog. Roman had never been fake the way I'd said on the podcast. I was just angry at him. So angry I'd turned everything he did into something despicable. That thought made my stomach tighten. Nico, I startled and looked up. Roman was looking at me. You were just staring at me like you wanted to kiss me. What? The coworker behind me let out a very loud, "Oh my God." I flushed crimson. Are you insane? Roman laughed so hard he had to bow his head. Damn him. I had never seen him laugh that freely on TV. After my shift, I walked out the theater's back door and nearly screamed when I found Roman sitting on the hood of his car. I thought you went to watch the movie. It was bad, he said, unbothered. The ghost died at minute 20. I hope it haunts you. Roman hopped off the car. I'll drive you home. I have legs. It's raining. I have a jacket. Roman looked at me for a few seconds, then stepped closer. Are you always this difficult? My heart sped up for no reason. Are you always this annoying? Only with people I like. The air froze. Rain pattered against the car roof behind us. Roman looked at me without blinking after saying that. As if it were deliberate. As if he wanted to see what I would do. I should have walked away. Instead, I asked, do you flirt with everyone like this? Roman tilted his head. No. Then why with me? He stepped a little closer. The distance between us was now close enough that I could feel the warmth radiating off him in the cold night. Because you make me want to try again. My chest ached sharply. Damn. I hated that I understood exactly what he meant. Roman wasn't just flirting. He was trying to ease his way back into my life, little by little. And the worst part was, I was letting him. In the end, I got in Roman's car. A massive mistake. His car smelled of leather and faint mint. A lo-fi playlist played softly, just enough to fill the silence. Roman drove with one hand, the other tapping the steering wheel to the rhythm. I hated that he looked attractive when he was focused on driving. Are you free tomorrow night? He asked.
No.
You haven't even checked your schedule. I'm busy hating you. Roman laughed quietly. There's a film school event. I know. Come with me. I turned to look at him. Do you really think the school will let you show up like a normal person?
No.
Roman shrugged. But if you come with me, at least I'll have someone to talk to. His voice sounded effortlessly light, but I could still sense the loneliness underneath. And the stupidest thing was, I softened. Roman was so famous he could no longer live like an ordinary person. Cameras followed him everywhere. Every action was scrutinized. Maybe that was why he had transferred to Boston and enrolled as a normal student. To breathe, I looked out the rain-blurred window. I'll think about it. Roman couldn't hide his smile. Dangerous answer. I haven't agreed. But you didn't refuse. Damn him. When the car stopped in front of my house, I was about to get out when Roman called my name. Nico. I turned back. He was still sitting behind the wheel, the streetlight casting itself across that unreasonably beautiful face.
I'm truly sorry.
My heart skipped a beat. Roman looked at me with an expression that had never appeared in front of any camera. Not performing, not charming, just raw, painful sincerity. For what happened back then, he said softly. I know saying it now doesn't change anything, but I still wanted you to hear it from me. I didn't know how to respond, because for the first time in 3 years, I was starting to believe him, and that was scarier than hating him. I got out of the car with my mind in complete chaos. Roman didn't stop me. He only rolled down the window before I went inside. Nico? What now? The corner of his mouth curved up very slightly. You were looking at me like you wanted to kiss me again. I immediately flipped him off. Roman burst out laughing. The sound of it rang through the cold rain, and my heart kept pounding erratically all the way inside. I agreed to go with Roman to the film school event. Yes, I know. I'm disappointed in myself too. I can't believe it, Jasper said, rifling through my closet like my personal stylist. You're going to an event with Roman Vale. It's not a date. Nico. It's not. Nico. I threw a pillow at his face. Jasper dodged it and kept laughing like a hyena. Okay, fine. Not a date. He raised both hands in surrender. Just two boys with unresolved tension going together to a romantic evening under candlelight. I hate you. But you like Roman. I stayed silent for too long. Jasper immediately pointed straight at my face. Oh my God. I didn't say anything. You didn't deny it. Damn. I hated that I couldn't argue back anymore. At 7 o'clock, Roman came to pick me up, and I immediately regretted opening the door. The bastard was wearing a black suit. Not the flashy red carpet tuxedo kind, but a simple suit that fit him with dangerous precision. His hair lightly swept back, a familiar silver watch peeking from his cuff. He looked me over from head to toe, then gave a low whistle. Wow! I felt my face heat up. Don't look at me like that. Like what? Like you're about to commit a crime. Roman laughed under his breath. Whose fault is it for dressing so well? Damn. I turned to grab my jacket so I could hide the fact that I was blushing. When we arrived at the event, I realized how badly I'd underestimated Roman's level of fame. The entire hall nearly froze the moment he walked in. Whispers erupted everywhere. Holy shit! That's Roman Vale. Is that Nico walking beside him? I wanted to disappear. Roman remained irritatingly calm. He leaned down close to my ear in the middle of the crowd. Breathe. His breath brushed past my ear and sent a faint shiver through my whole body. I am breathing. You look like you're about to punch someone. I'm considering it. Roman laughed. We had barely taken a few steps before someone came over to ask for a photo with Roman. Then another person. And another. At first he responded politely, but after about 10 minutes, I began to notice his shoulders growing tense. His smile looking more and more tired. A group of students blocked his path right near the drinks table. Roman, can you record a birthday message for my friend? Roman, I've loved you since the summer fall. Roman, I saw the moment he hit his limit. It was very small, but I saw it. Roman always tugged at his watch strap when he was overwhelmed. Exactly like before. I stepped forward on instinct. Okay, enough, I told the crowd. He's a person, not a Disney mascot. The air stalled for a few seconds. Roman looked at me like he had forgotten how to breathe. The other students finally backed away, a little sheepish. When it was just the two of us again, Roman was still silently watching me. What? I asked, uncomfortable. His voice dropped to something dangerous. You just defended me. I just hate crowds. Liar. My heart pounded. Roman stepped a little closer amid the music and the soft amber light. I think you still hate watching me get cornered. I looked away. Don't imagine things. But Roman kept smiling. A smile so soft it made my stomach tighten. A little later, Professor Morgan pulled us both up on stage to introduce our short film project. The greatest mistake in the history of humanity. Ah, right? He said into the microphone with a dangerously cheerful grin. You two should show the audience your chemistry, yes? The entire crowd of students screamed like wild animals. I wanted to drop out. Roman, meanwhile, was thoroughly enjoying himself. He took the microphone. The chemistry? We've always had it. The hall exploded. Roman! Oh my God! I whipped around to face him. Are you insane? Roman leaned close to my ear, right there on stage. You're blushing. I will kill you. After this, sure. Son of a... Professor Morgan sat behind the camera, absolutely useless. I love this tension, he said, eating a donut. Keep going. I wanted to drop out for the second time. We still had to film the scene. The studio lights were dimmed, leaving only the warm amber glow of a lamp beside the fake kitchen table. Suddenly it was so quiet I could hear my own heartbeat. Focus, I told myself. Roman sat across from me at the table. Too close. Too handsome. Too dangerous. Action, Professor Morgan said. Roman immediately stepped into character. Or perhaps he didn't need to. His eyes softened when they looked at me, so genuinely it made my chest ache. In the scene, his character had to say, I thought if I saw you again, you'd hate me forever. Roman looked straight into my eyes when he said it. Unwavering. I forgot to breathe. My turn. Per the script, I had to reply, maybe I tried. My voice came out genuinely hoarse, because suddenly the line wasn't acting anymore. The air between us was so taut the entire studio fell silent. Roman propped his elbow on the table and asked the next line with deliberate slowness. Then what made you stop? I should have looked down, but I couldn't look away from him. Damn. There was something extremely dangerous in Roman's gaze today. No more teasing. No more playfulness. Only a gentleness that nearly frightened me. I read the final line. Because you look at me like I'm still the one you want. Silence. Professor Morgan forgot to call cut. The entire studio seemed frozen. Roman looked at me for so long I started to feel dizzy. Then he said very quietly, that wasn't acting, was it? My heart slammed so hard it hurt. Roman. He stood up. Step by step he walked toward me. I pushed my chair back by reflex. Roman stopped right in front of me. Too close. The familiar scent of his cologne made my head spin. Nico. His voice was low and rough. Tell me I'm wrong. Couldn't. Damn. Couldn't. Roman read my reaction and let out a very quiet breath, as though he had finally confirmed something. His hand came to rest on the table behind me, trapping me in that suffocatingly warm space. If you still hate me, he murmured, then why do you always look at my mouth first? The air left my lungs. I should have pushed him away, should have run. But my mind was completely blank. My eyes had genuinely just dropped to his lips. Roman saw everything. The corner of his mouth curved up slightly. Nico. I swallowed hard. Don't. Don't what? Don't make me forget why I was angry at you. Roman's eyes softened immediately, and somehow that was even more dangerous. He gently raised his hand and touched my face. Just his fingertips. So lightly I nearly shuddered on the spot. I don't want you to forget, Roman said softly. I just want you to give me the chance to fix it. My chest ached. No one had ever looked at me like that. like I was something he was genuinely afraid of losing. Outside the studio, rain began to fall. The soft pattering filled the silence between us. Roman was still standing very close. Close enough that I only needed to lean in slightly. Oh my God! We both startled. Professor Morgan was standing behind the camera with an expression of excessive emotion. Is this chemistry or a curse? I immediately jumped up from my chair. Roman closed his eyes and laughed helplessly. I hate this class, I muttered. Interesting, Morgan said, stroking his chin, because it looks more like you two want to kiss. I wanted to dig a hole and bury myself. Roman remained completely composed. He looked at me, then said the line that made me want to die on the spot. He's just not ready yet. The entire studio erupted, and my heart officially lost all control. I avoided looking at Roman for the rest of the filming session, which was extremely difficult when he kept watching me like he was replaying every moment between us. Cut. Perfect, Professor Morgan said after the final scene. You two should either start dating or avoid each other forever. We'll choose a third option, I muttered. Roman sat on a table behind me and laughed. Which is? I'm moving to Canada. Too cold. Better than being near you. Roman looked at me for a few seconds, then replied quietly, You don't actually want to be far from me anymore. My heart betrayed me again by pounding like mad. Damn, I hated that he was right so often. After filming, since it was still raining heavily, everyone decided to order food right there in the studio. I was sitting editing test footage on my laptop when Roman pulled a chair up beside me. Too close. Again. I think this shot is beautiful, he said softly, pointing at the screen. It was the scene of the two characters looking at each other in the dark kitchen. The way they looked at each other on screen was so intimate I barely recognized myself. We just acted well, I said quickly. Roman was quiet for a moment, then said softly, Yeah, I suppose. I didn't dare look at him, because I knew if I did, I would see exactly what I was trying to avoid. Feelings. Real enough to be dangerous. Roman's phone suddenly buzzed. The screen lit up with a name. Mom. Roman immediately stood and stepped outside to take the call. I watched without meaning to. Through the rain-blurred studio glass, I could see him leaning against the wall, one hand over his forehead like something was stressing him. His smile had completely vanished. About 10 minutes later, Roman came back, and I knew immediately something was wrong. Are you okay? I asked before I could think. Roman looked slightly surprised, then gave a faint smile. Yeah. You're a terrible liar. You liked me and still went on a podcast to trash me, he replied. You're also a terrible liar. I rolled my eyes but kept watching him with suspicion. Roman finally sighed. My family. I went still. He rarely mentioned them. They saw the video of us at the event, Roman said, quieter. My mom thinks I'm dating you. My heart lurched in a spectacularly stupid way. Oh, and she's not happy. The air grew heavy. I looked at Roman for a moment. For the first time since we'd reconnected, he looked genuinely exhausted. Not the tired from fame kind, but the kind of bone-deep weariness that came from pretending to be strong for too long. I remembered that when Roman was 17, he'd once mentioned his father was extremely conservative, that he wanted his son to be the American golden boy, not a queer actor kissing boys on screen. Before I could say anything, Roman let out a hollow laugh. Funny, isn't it? He leaned back against the table. The whole internet thinks I'm incredibly confident, when really you're terrified. Roman looked at me. I'm always terrified. That hit me harder than any flirtatious line he'd ever said. Because this time he wasn't trying to charm me. He was just being honest. And I hated that I wanted to hold him right then. Damn. I closed my laptop. Do you want to go somewhere? Roman blinked. Right now. I know a place that stays open late. He looked at me for a few seconds like he was making sure he hadn't misheard. Then the corner of his mouth slowly curved up. Did you just ask me out? I can change my mind just as fast. Okay. Roman raised both hands in surrender, but his smile couldn't conceal how pleased he was. I'm saying nothing. Half an hour later, we were sitting in a small 24/7 diner a few blocks from campus. The place was worn and cozy, pink neon lights reflecting against rain-fogged windows. The smell of French fries and coffee mingled in the air. And the best thing? No one recognized Roman. At least not at first. I remember this place, he said, looking around with a small smile. You sent me a photo of the pancakes here once. I stopped. You still remember that? I remember everything about you, Roman said too quickly. My heart immediately spun out. I bent over my milkshake and stirred it to hide my face. Roman watched me with a smile. You still do that? Do what? Stir your drink when you're nervous. I'm not nervous. Sure. Damn. We talked for nearly 2 hours. Not about the scandal. Not about the internet. Not about the past. Just talking. About films. Music. Life in Boston. Roman told me he hated LA because everything felt fake. I told him about the time a customer had thrown up right in the theater where I worked. Roman laughed so hard he put his head down on the table. And God, I had missed that laugh more than I knew. Around midnight, the diner began to empty. A slow song drifted from an old jukebox at the far end. Roman rested his chin in his hand and looked at me across the warm amber light. Nico. I like it when you forget to hate me. My chest tightened. I should have pushed back. But I was too tired to lie. Roman looked at me for a long time. The air between us softened in a dangerous way. Then he suddenly asked, Have you ever seriously dated anyone? I frowned. Why are you asking? Just curious. I leaned back in my chair. A few people. Roman was quiet for a moment. Did you ever like them the way you used to like me? That question knocked the air out of me. Damn. Roman was looking at me like the answer genuinely mattered. I don't know why I was honest in that moment. Maybe it was the rainy night, the soft light, or maybe I was simply too exhausted to keep pretending I had no feelings left. No, I said quietly. Roman went completely still, truly still. His eyes widened slightly, as though he had just heard something he hadn't dared to hope for. Nico, I hated you because of that, I said with a dry laugh. No one after you ever made me feel the same way. The air froze. Roman stared at me so intently I almost wanted to take it back. Then very slowly he stood up, walked around the table, stopped right in front of me. My heart started going wild. Roman, he leaned down close, one hand braced on the back of my chair. His eyes went dark. Call me selfish if you want, he said, voice rough. But hearing you say that makes me want to kiss you so badly it's unbearable. The breath left me. The distance between us was now so close that our lips were nearly touching. Just a little more. Order for table 6. We both jolted. I laughed first. Roman stood frozen for a few seconds, then laughed too, bowing his head in pure helpless defeat. Is Boston conspiring against me? He muttered. I was still laughing until my stomach hurt. Roman looked at me like he was under a spell. And this time, I didn't look away. Roman drove me home just before 2 in the morning. The rain had stopped long ago, but the streets of Boston were still wet, reflecting the amber glow of street lamps stretched out beneath the tires. Neither of us said much on the way back. It wasn't awkward, just quiet in a dangerous way, the kind of quiet that arrives when both people know something is about to change. When the car stopped in front of my house, I unbuckled my seatbelt more slowly than usual. Roman stayed still behind the wheel. His hand tapped lightly against it, like he was thinking something through. Tonight was good, he said softly. Yeah. Roman turned to look at me. His eyes were so soft they made my chest tighten. You smile differently when it's just the two of us. Damn. I smile with plenty of people. Not like that. I hated that he noticed everything. I was about to open the car door when Roman called my name again. Nico. He was quiet for a few seconds, then asked very softly, Are you still afraid of me? That question stopped me cold, because I knew he wasn't asking about the fame, not the scandal. He was asking about what was between us. I looked at Roman under the faint glow of the streetlights. The person who had kept me awake at night when I was 17. The one who had made me so furious I had built an entire podcast just to talk about him. And also the one currently looking at me like I could shatter his heart with a single answer. Yes, I said honestly. Roman's eyes dimmed slightly, but I kept talking before he could look away. Because you can still hurt me. The air went still. Roman looked at me for a long time, then let out a quiet breath. Fair. I should have gotten out of the car right then. Instead, I stayed. Roman didn't push. Outside, the whole neighborhood was submerged in silence. Only the faint lo-fi music playing in the car. Then Roman smiled softly. You know what the worst thing is? What? I think I like you even more than I did when we were 17. My heart nearly stopped. Damn. He said it so plainly.
No joke. No flirtaschen.
Just a confession. I felt warmth flood through me. Roman. Yeah. You terrify me. His eyes softened immediately.
Sorry.
But he didn't sound sorry at all. Instead, Roman looked at me like he had finally touched something he had been searching for across 3 years. I should have run. Instead, I looked down at his lips. Again. Roman caught it immediately. The air shifted in an instant. He leaned in slightly closer, very slowly, as if giving me the chance to stop him. Nico. His voice went rough. If you don't want this, I won't. My heart pounded so hard it hurt. The space between us was now only centimeters. I could feel his breath, the familiar scent of mint, those gray-blue eyes that had never left mine. Damn. I had been waiting for this moment since I was 17, and I was still terrified of it. Roman gently brought his hand to my face, so tenderly it was almost too much. Tell me to stop, he whispered. I opened my mouth, but what came out was, you talk too much. Roman burst out laughing. Then he kissed me. Everything went quiet at once. It wasn't dramatic like the movies.
No fireworks.
Just the feeling of finally reaching something you had missed for far too long. Roman's lips were warm, slow, infuriatingly careful, as if he was genuinely afraid I might disappear. My heart went completely haywire. I instinctively grabbed his shirt as Roman pulled me closer. A small sound escaped from his throat in that moment, almost like relief. Damn. The kiss deepened slightly.
No urgency.
Just years of suppressed longing. I felt Roman's hand trembling faintly as it moved across my cheek, and that made my chest ache. He truly cared. He had never stopped. When Roman pulled back, we were both breathing a little fast. His forehead rested against mine, close enough that I could see each of his eyelashes. Hi, he said, voice rough. I laughed into the space between us. Roman looked at me for a few seconds, then suddenly grinned like the happiest idiot in the world. I just kissed my 17-year-old crush. I hate you. Not great timing for that. I was still laughing despite myself. Damn, I was truly done for. Roman watched me laugh for a few more seconds. Then his eyes softened in a way that made my heart dissolve. You have no idea how long I've been thinking about this. My chest tightened. Why did you come back only now? Roman went quiet. For the first time since the kiss, he no longer looked relieved. I thought, he said slowly, if I came back before I was better, I'd only hurt you again. My heart stung. Roman bowed his head with a thin smile. Turns out I'm still an idiot. I looked at him for a moment. Then, for the first time in 3 years, I reached for him first. My hand found his on the seat. Roman immediately looked up. His expression was almost stunned. I'm still angry at you, I said honestly. I know. And we have a lot of unresolved things between us. I know. I'm not promising anything. Roman stared at me. Then the corner of his mouth curved up, unbearably gentle. But you're still holding my hand. Damn. I flushed immediately. Roman laughed and leaned in to press a soft kiss to the corner of my mouth. Sleep, Nico. I stepped out of the car with my mind in complete chaos. But before going inside, I looked back. Roman was still there watching me like he didn't want to look away. And for the first time in a long time, I no longer felt like I was standing on the opposite side from him. Everything after that kiss became dangerous in the best possible way. Roman stopped appearing in my life like a storm and started feeling like a habit. Mornings, he'd bring coffee to my place. Evenings, we'd edit the project together in the studio. Some days we'd just sit in his car after class, listening to music in silence. And the scariest part was it felt completely natural, as if there had always been a space in our lives held for each other. 3 weeks later, our short film was selected for the biggest showcase of the semester. The entire film department nearly lost their minds. Professor Morgan was more emotional than either of us. "I told you," he said, gesturing back and forth between me and Roman. "Trauma bonding creates art." "We hate you," I said, "and yet you still submitted on time." The night of the showcase, the hall was packed. Students, faculty, guests, and of course, somehow the internet already knew Roman would be there. I stood backstage adjusting my sleeve while my heart beat erratically. Roman walked over to me. He was wearing a simple black shirt, hair lightly swept back. Without even trying, he made the rest of the world look like his backdrop. "You're going to wear a hole in the floor," Roman said when he saw me pacing. "I hate screening my own films in front of an audience." "Liar." He smiled. "You just hate people seeing through you." I went quiet, because he was right. This film was too real, too much like us. Roman looked at me for a moment, then gently reached for my hand, fingers lacing together. Right there backstage, surrounded by people. My heart leapt. "Roman, breathe," he said softly. "I'm here." Damn. I had never gotten used to how just a few words from him could make me go soft. When the film began, the entire hall went silent. I sat beside Roman in the dark, wound so tight I nearly crushed my soda can. Then the kitchen scene appeared. The scene of two characters looking at each other as though standing before their last chance to love again. I heard someone in the audience quietly breathe, "Oh my God." Roman sat very still beside me, until the final line played, "Because you look at me like I'm still the one you want." The entire hall went quiet. I felt Roman turn to look at me in the darkness. But I didn't dare look back. When the film ended, the lights came up. And then, applause broke out everywhere, so loud it left me stunned. Professor Morgan was the first to stand. "See!" he shouted, like a proud parent at graduation. I knew they were in love. The whole hall erupted with laughter. I wanted to set myself on fire for the 100th time. Roman bowed his head laughing beside me. But right then, a student in the row ahead suddenly screamed, "Kiss already!" "Oh no, no, no." The crowd immediately joined in like a mob that had lost all restraint. "Quiche, quiche, quiche." I buried my face in my hands. "I hate this school." Roman leaned in close to my ear. "Funny," he murmured. "I'm starting to like it here. You're the reason." True. The bastard didn't even deny it. The chanting got louder and louder. I turned to tell Roman not to do anything stupid. A mistake. Because he was looking at me with that expression. The one that made me forget every reason I had ever wanted to stay away from him. Roman raised an eyebrow slightly. "Want to give them what they want?" My heart immediately lost control. "Are you insane?" "Possibly. Everyone is watching." "I know." "Roman." He suddenly took my hand. Very firmly. No more hiding. No more holding back. Roman's eyes went completely soft as he looked at me. "Nico." His voice was low enough that only I could hear. "This time I don't want to run." My chest clenched, because I understood what he meant. Not the kiss, but himself. 3 years ago, Roman had run because he was afraid, and now he was choosing to stay. With me. Damn. Before I could think any further, Roman pulled me in and kissed me, right in the middle of the crowd's deafening roar. This time was nothing like the car. No more caution. No more tentative testing. Just a real kiss. Warm. Honest. Full of the feeling of finally. The audience below practically exploded. Some people stood up on their chairs. Some were already filming like they were witnessing a historic event. But I no longer cared. Because Roman was kissing me like he had been waiting for this for years. And God, maybe I had been too. When we pulled apart, we were both breathing slightly fast. Roman kept his forehead against mine, smiling like the happiest idiot in the world. "Hi, boyfriend," he said, voice rough. I burst out laughing immediately. "You appointed yourself? You didn't object." Damn, I really didn't object. The screaming below still hadn't stopped. Jasper was standing in the front row, weeping theatrically like a mother watching her son get married. "I knew it," he bellowed. "I knew they'd kiss." I laughed so hard I couldn't breathe. Roman watched me laugh like he was under a spell. And in that moment, I suddenly understood something. I had thought Roman Vale was the storm that ruined my life. But actually, he was just the person who gave me enough courage to stop running from my own feelings. After the showcase, we slipped out through the back of the hall to escape the crowd. The night air was cold, but Roman's hand was warm in mine. He pulled me closer as we walked across campus near midnight. "The internet will go insane tomorrow," I said. Roman shrugged. "Let them. You say that like you don't care." Roman stopped walking, then turned to look at me under the faint amber glow of the streetlights. This time his eyes were completely at peace. No more fear. No more hesitation. "I only care whether you're still beside me tomorrow." My heart went completely soft. I stepped forward and kissed the corner of his mouth. Roman was visibly stunned for half a second before bursting into laughter. "Holy shit," he breathed. "You just kissed me first. Don't make it a big deal. Too late. This is the happiest day of my life. I feel sorry for you." Roman wrapped an arm around my waist and pulled me against